Hey guys, it's Bailey and this is going to be a review of e.l.f.'s new moisturizing foundation stick as well as their HD lifting concealer. So if you want to see reviews, before and after pics, all that good stuff, continue watching. First I want to start with this foundation stick. It retails for $6 from islipsface.com or wherever else you can find e.l.f. sold in stores. I have the shade Natural, which is one step above the lightest shade. I think this is a little bit too dark for my natural skin tone, so I would go down to the lightest. That being said, this obviously isn't a shade range. It's going to cater to the lightest of the light. I'm not really sure about deeper skin tones, but I also know that it is a narrow shade range with only 8 shades available, so that's something to keep in mind when you are trying to find your shade in this foundation, especially since a lot of the times you're going to have to be picking online. The only details the site really gives about this foundation is that it's supposed to be buildable, natural looking coverage, and that I think is exactly what it is. Generally, stick foundations can have issues with being dry, pulling at the skin as you apply them, and then not blending in very easily, and that is just not the case at all with this foundation. It has always glided on smoothly, blended in perfectly, and I think gives a pretty full coverage to the skin. It didn't cover some of the major under eye discoloration that I had, but I noticed that it covered up any blemishes that I have, evened those out really nicely with a really natural looking finish. I would say it's more around the satin area. It's definitely not matte, but I wouldn't consider it dewy. It's probably more of a satin finish. That being said, I have combination skin, and as the day progressed, that satin finish definitely did become dewy, and so those with oily skin or even combination that tends toward oily might want to avoid this because it is very moisturizing. I definitely developed a little bit of a shine, but what I will say is that it still stayed pretty impeccably across my entire face. And that's over about a 10-hour period, which I'd say is pretty good wear out of a $6 foundation. From what I can tell, I don't think it oxidized. It was a little hard to tell with this specific foundation because, like I said, it is already about a shade darker than I need it for my skin tone. That being said, I still didn't notice it developing a lot of excess pigment throughout the day as it oxidized on my skin. Overall, I think this is a really great affordable stick foundation over a day's wear, and especially on a day that it was about 40 outside, it was raining, I walk everywhere, so my skin was definitely exposed to the elements. It wore that well even on my combination skin under all of those circumstances. I think it's a pretty good foundation. Like I said, very dry, kind of combination skin, but if you're combination into oily, I might be a little bit careful. As far as wear goes, I more so saw an issue with the next product I'm going to talk about, which is the HD Lifting Concealer. This retails for $3, and I have the shade Fair, which is actually the lightest in the line. There are only 3 shades of this concealer, and then there are 3 corrective shades, a yellow, a peach, and a green, I think. So considering this is the lightest, I did not think that it was none too light for me, which again means that those with very fair skin, and perhaps those with even, deeper skin tones, are going to struggle finding the right concealer for their skin tone in this shade range. As far as it being a concealer, however, I did notice it canceling out under eye discoloration I have pretty well without any color correction or anything to help it out. It did cover under eye discoloration. As far as wear goes, it lasts all day when set with a powder, but when worn alone, obviously you can see in this before and after, it was definitely the first thing to get worn away throughout the day. You can definitely tell a difference in the under eye area. Still, even when it is set with powder and lasts all day, it doesn't get cakey or sink into fine lines, so in that respect, the texture is really great. I think if you can find a shade that suits you within this range and you don't mind having to set it with powder to get it to last all day, this is a great affordable concealer for you. But for me, I not only need to apply this, but I'm also going to need to apply a brightener and then apply a powder over that, when alternatively I could just have one concealer, the one that I'm really liking lately, which is the True Blend Fix Stick, and it's the one that I'm using in my other before and after photo, that I just use this, it's one and done and go. So the concealer isn't a complete must-have for me. I think you're just definitely going to have to weigh what you want out of your concealer to see if this is the right one for you. The foundation stick, however, if this is something that you've been looking for, a moisturizing foundation stick that has, I would say, buildable to full coverage with a very natural looking finish, I think this is a great one to have, and it's very affordable at $6. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!